Okay, Mrs. M, what are we doing today? I'll tell you what we're doing. We're cooking steak. We're not just cooking steak, we are cooking, apparently, France's most popular steak. And because everything we do now is France themed. French themed. It's French themed. French wine, French letters, French steak,
French fries.
Fries. What steak is it, my love?
This is steak au poivre.
Poivre.
Not sure I'm saying that 100% correctly, but steak au poivre.
Listen, if there's any French people,
yeah, please correct us.
Give us a clue.
Yeah, or pepper steak if you're British.
Pepper steak.
Or Canadian, but steak au poivre.
Steak au poivre. Steak. That's good.
Steak au poivre.
Au poivre.
Yes.
Right.
So here we have.
Let's get to the meat of it.
Let's
get to the meat of the matter.
So here we have.
I'm wasted.
I know. You're wasted. You should be on television.
I should be.
Hang on.
I should be on stage.
Yeah, he was.
The next stage out of town. Here all week, folks.
Yeah, I have to live with this.
Sorry, go on. Carry on, my love. Carry on.
So we have here two beautiful, as they'd say in Canada, two beautiful.
Oh, the steaks.
Yes, two beautiful tenderloin steaks, they would say in Canada. In the UK, would say fillet steak, and I'm hoping in France you'd say filet.
Filet.
So these are about 250 grams each from the middle of the filet, and they've been out of the fridge now for about just short of an hour.
Just short of an hour.
Because you don't want to cook your meat cold, because it shocks it too much.
Oh, good grief, no.
No, so we don't want to shock the meat, no.
You don't do we beat it?
We don't beat it because this is a really tender cut of meat. It's probably the most tender cut of meat.
You don't need to beat your meat.
So you don't need to beat your meat. All you need to do is you need to liberally smother it in black pepper and mustard.
Till it's moist?
No.
I'm going to get banned.
No, you're going to cook it till it's moist.
I've had too much
But at
wine.
this point, you're just going to smother it in lots of fresh ground black pepper, some whole grain mustard and some Dijon mustard.
Okay, that's good.
And that's been sat there like that for about an hour out of the fridge.
Yeah.
So it's not too cold, it's room temperature.
Now bear in mind, folks, that this is real time.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, I'm not a good cook. I'm a good eater, but I'm a terrible cook. And so, but it is I'm led to believe that in your arsenal, people, in your arsenal
Of what you can cook.
of what you can, of things to do to woo your significant other.
This is a great
Valentine's
Valentine's Day dinner.
Oh, hey, I see what you did there.
Yeah, it's a great Valentine's
You did that well,
Day.
didn't you?
I did. A great
See that?
Valentine's Day dinner.
We didn't rehearse that,
No,
did we?
we didn't. Great Valentine's Day dinner, or we've missed it now, but New Year's Eve, or a special occasion, because let's not lie, this is not a cheap cut of meat, this is an expensive cut of meat.
It is.
So you don't really want to spoil it, you want to do a good job, and you want to keep it moist and succulent.
Right, listen, let's move on from moist and succulent.
Yeah.
What are we going to do with it, Mrs. M?
We're just going to, it's really simple to cook it.
I've just realised, with the wine, am I Johnny to your Fanny? It was Craddock. Fanny Craddock.
I'm so sorry.
Dirty minds.
So sorry, people.
Right, move on. Okay.
So we're actually going to cook it. It's really simple, but what a lot of people do is they think that the heat has to be really high to cook a steak, and it doesn't. It needs to be medium heat. So on that note, let's move behind us.
Move on
to the stove.
To the stove.
And start the process.
See how this is seamless.
It is. It's seamless.
There's no cut here.
No.
Wow, look at that.
So
we'll walk across the other side of the studio.
What we're going to do, we're going to melt some butter. This is organic Canadian butter, which actually is really good.
Or in French,
beurre.
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 De biologique.
What do you mean?
No, biologique means organic.
Organic beurre.
Yeah.
Biologique beurre.
Now we should actually be quite good at French, especially around food, because in Canada every label on every food is in English and French. No, but we should be. So
should be,
in theory, because Canada, obviously half of Canada is French, not the half we're in, but half of it is French, and by law, every label has to be in English and French.
Yeah.
So
And we should be able to work it out.
We should be able to work it out. So we're just putting that on a medium heat. As I said, we don't want that to be too hot because we don't want the steak to burn on the outside and be raw on the inside.
No, we don't want that.
We want the steak to be, well, I'm going to cook this medium rare because that's how we like it.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you like it more rare, cook it for slightly less time, or you want it more medium, cook it for a little bit longer.
Well done for that.
I know, is that obvious?
Oh.
I know, but it's
You're not a master of the obvious at all, you, are you really?
Well,
if you want it burnt, cook it for half a day.
Yeah, if you want to spoil a really nice piece of steak, cook it well done.
Yeah, and I must admit though, because Mrs. Salmon's cooked this once or twice.
In our 20 odd years of being married.
And I was always, because I'm a bit of a heathen. I'm from Yorkshire, and in Yorkshire we just like everything well done. Everything well done. And so when I first met Mrs. Salmon, she was cooking steak that was kind of more on the rare side. And I thought, no, I'm not going to go with that really, but I tell you, yes. A steak like this would just, it melts in the mouth.
Yeah, I remember one time I cooked steak for Steve and he'd fallen off his motorbike and he'd broken his wrist. That was one of many times when he's fallen off his motorbike, but in this particular instance, he fell off his motorbike and broke his wrist.
And all I had was a fork.
And all he had was a fork, and this dish that I cooked, this was, I don't know, 15 years ago, it was so tender that he managed to cut it just with a fork.
You wouldn't think you'd be able to do that really, would you?
Well,
cook, steak with just a fork,
well,
but there you go.
There you go. Okay, so that butter now is like sizzling nicely. It's not too hot, but it's definitely melted and it's definitely sizzling. So we're going to put our steaks in, and we're not going to put them mustard side down. We're just going to put them the side down that's just got the black pepper on it, because we don't want that mustard to burn or cook too quickly.
Okay.
So we're just going to put that there like that, just with the mustard side up. And now basically all we do is, and it's quick, but you still need a little bit of patience, we just gently let that sit in that beautiful melting butter and let the heat just gently cook through the meat. So I'm just going to let it sit there. It's just going to cook away in that butter, sizzling away.
This is proper easy, isn't it? This is easy, this really.
It is easy. I think when people get scared about cooking steak is how long to cook it for, is it done enough? And if you're not sure, partway through the process, just get a little sharp knife and just cut into the middle and just see how the middle is looking, and just cook it until that middle is to your taste.
See, I wouldn't bother doing any of that. I'd just follow. Listen, folks, just follow these instructions. This is real-time stuff here. You can't go wrong with this.
Just turning that down slightly because the butter is browning a little bit, and I don't want it to get
don't want browning butter?
Browned butter gives a really good flavour, but you don't want it too brown because then it will start to taste too burnt.
I'm with you.
There's a balance between.
It smells hellish nice.
So I'm just going to push those into like where there's more butter in the pan, so that you can see there the butter is bubbling up around the steak.
All right.
And I just want it to cook like on the side that I've put it in the pan for maybe 2 or 3 minutes. I mean, you can already see, if you look at the side of the steak.
Well, it's starting to cook.
It's starting to
colour, isn't it?
cook. Yeah, it's starting to change colour. So what we're going to do now, we're going to flip the steak.
Okay then. You see, I can imagine if you're a bit of a Lothario, and there is a saying, cook a steak, get the girl.
Or boy.
Or boy.
Yeah.
And And I've quite a vivid imagination actually, and I can imagine, you know, when you're trying to impress,
Yeah.
and you invite he or her round,
Yeah.
and you open a bottle of wine, you set to,
And you say, I'm just going to cook some steak.
I'm just going to cook some steak.
Yeah. So you can see there, the side that was pan side down has got this beautiful colour to it now.
Oh, yeah.
Like the edges are just like starting to caramelize.
Whatever you said.
But it's not burnt, but you can just see it's got a little bit of like a really beautiful crust just on the edge. I'm just going to add a little bit more butter.
This is rich. This is rich
Yeah.
stuff we're talking
Because
here, isn't it?
what's left in the pan when the steak's finished cooking is going to be the base for our poivre sauce.
Wow.
Poivre.
Wow.
I really wish someone French would tell me how I should pronounce that properly.
Oh, believe me, I think we might get a few comments from French people after this goes live.
So you just want to like move that round the pan, because now I've turned it over onto the side that had the mustard on it. The mustard started to stick to the bottom of the pan, but don't panic, because the next step
Do tell, I'm not
will
panicking.
loosen any of those those bits of mustard or the bits of pepper that are stuck to the bottom of the pan.
Is this where I should get the fire extinguisher out?
In a minute.
In readiness.
But before that, we're just going to baste this.
Baste it.
So we're going to get a spoon into all this butter, and we're just going to put this butter.
Stop licking my trousers. Go away.
That's the dog, by the way, licking his trousers,
I
not
think
me.
they'll be able to see the dog.
Yeah. So we're just going to baste these steaks with the butter from the pan.
He's expectant.
Yeah, Jack's
He
hopeful
thinks a
that
piece
he
of that
might
steak's
get.
going to fall out of the pan.
Yeah, I
innit?
think he's mistaken, but there you go. We're just going to baste that steak with the butter, like this.
This just smells divine.
Okay. And then what we're going to do, we're going to deglaze the pan.
Here we go.
We're going to add another flavour.
This is it.
To the
Here we go.
steak and ultimately to the sauce. Now, if you don't feel confident flaming the brandy, you can just add the brandy and just let it cook down. But me personally, I prefer to flame it because I think that gives a bit of an added flavour. So again, the heat is not too high. That you can see how high that heat is. It's nowhere, it's like slightly below medium. You don't want that too hot, otherwise you might burn your kitchen down. You really don't want that too hot, no. So
I've spent so much time building it. I don't really want you to burn it down.
So we're going to put a good glug of brandy in there, and then we're going to take our trusty thing and we're going to set it on fire.
Hey! Here we go.
And you're just going to leave that. The alcohol's going to burn away, and as it burns away,
this wine,
it's French wine,
is it's very, very nice.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know if it can the camera pick that up. It's beautiful. Now I don't know if is this a faux pas we're committing here?
No, I think.
You know, what is it wine that?
No, but it's white, but we're having it as an aperitif while we're cooking the steak.
Yes, we are.
We're not drinking it with the steak.
Why? No, we're not.
No. We're going to have a nice Bordeaux, nice red Bordeaux with the steak.
We are. Oh, we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
But as we're cooking, we're just having an easy white.
An easy one.
So what you can
Partial to an easy white.
What you can see now is that brandy has deglazed the pan. So all those beautiful bits of mustard and black pepper that were stuck to the pan have now been incorporated into the butter, basically.
So how long have we been now at this? How long have we been cooking this? You know, it's like what? We're into about 4 minutes?
A bit longer.
4.5 minutes?
4.5 minutes.
4.5 minutes?
Yeah.
To cook it for so far?
Yeah.
What is it? Well, actually,
a bit longer.
There's 15 on there, but
I don't think it is. So these steaks are sort of fairly even in height, but if you got a thicker steak, you're going to need to cook them for a bit longer because obviously the steak's thicker. If they're thinner, it's going to take a bit less. But you don't want to like push the moisture out, but what you get used to when you cook steaks a lot is, like, when you put pressure on them, how much they give is basically how much they're cooked.
You see, I've seen so many steaks being cooked and things like burgers being cooked where the person cooking them has pressed it down.
Yeah, pressed the hell out of them.
Squeezed all the juices out of it because they think that that's the right thing to do. I mean, comments, please. But I'm not. Doesn't it make it dry?
So
when you squeeze all the moisture out, did it make it dry?
We're just basting these steaks. I'm not going to turn them again. I'm just going to leave them now, and I'm just going to baste them for maybe just another little bit longer. And then what we're going to do is, you can see there's quite a lot of give if I do gently press that steak.
Not a firm meat, is it?
No, but it would be firm if it was well done.
Well, this is true.
There is, I don't know if it's true, but there's this thing that I've seen.
You know when you meat hard.
This thing I've seen where it's
you
do this thing with this bit of your thumb.
Yes.
I don't think my hands are fat enough, but you do this thing where if you touch your little finger and press it, and then you touch the meat, that would be well done.
Right.
And then that would be medium because it gets softer. That would be medium rare, and that would be rare because it's softer.
Oh,
so as you see here, this is still quite soft because we want this to be medium rare. We don't want it to be too overcooked. We want the middle to be pink and juicy.
We do.
And we want it to be red on the inside but not raw.
That as well.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take those steaks out of the pan.
Okay.
And I'm going to set them aside to rest.
All right.
Now this is just a plate here that I've had on the stove that's light. I wouldn't say it's warm, but it's not hot.
Oh no, it's all right.
So we're just going to put the steaks in there.
Is this on? No,
well, the oven's on.
The hot plate isn't. So that's,
no, the oven's on. So this plate is warm but not hot.
Right.
So these steaks now are just going to rest there while we make the sauce.
Go for it.
So what we're going to do to make the sauce, we're going to use the same pan with all these great juices that are in the bottom of it. I'm going to turn it down a bit. I really don't want it. I just want it low for this. I'm going to add a tiny bit more butter just because. Just like a tiny bit more butter. Not too much butter, just a tiny bit more butter. And then I've got some very finely chopped, diced shallots.
Shallots?
Shallots.
That's shallot. That's shallot.
That's shallot.
See what we did?
I know. Oh!
Shallot.
That's just reminded me about this Richard and Maria.
Maria.
A new life in France.
Because they live on the lot.
They live on the lot, and at the end of their YouTube channels, shout out to Richard and Maria, they always say, that's your lot.
Link below.
That's your lot from the River Lot.
You see how we tie this together?
Yeah.
Have you seen this?
These are shallots. So this is quite a small...
We're good at this, aren't we?
Shush. This is quite a small shallot that's very finely diced. I did it beforehand because it always makes my eyes run and I didn't want to be crying on camera, even though I do have to live with Steve, so you know, it kind of is normal that I might cry from time to time. But anyway, so we're going to put those in that butter. We're going to put those shallots in that butter.
Shallot?
Yeah.
That's shallot.
And we're going to just cook these through on a low heat in the butter juices, in the mustard juices, in the remains of the brandy, in the pan. We're just going to cook those through. Just so that we've taken the edge off them. Because the shallots, they're a milder onion anyway, and they've got a more subtle taste, so they don't need a lot of cooking. And all the while our steak's just sitting there resting.
Resting.
Yeah, which is really important.
To put it to rest.
To put it to rest.
We don't want to tire it out.
You don't want to tire it out now. So we're just cooking off these shallots. Just gently cooking those off. Just in that juices of the pan with a little bit of butter added. And And then what we need to do to make a nice, rich, creamy sauce is we need to make a roux.
A roux.
A roux. Where's my wine?
A roux.
A roux.
As in street.
No.
No.
No. As in R-O-U-X roux.
R-O-U-X roux.
Not R-U-E roux. So a roux is basically
They're not going to let me in France, are they?
They're not. Roux is basically where you've got some kind of fat and some flour which combines together to then help thicken the sauce.
Get on with it then.
So in this instance we've got butter in the bottom of the pan there. And you'll see I like butter. I like cooking with butter. We're just going to add a little bit more.
I can feel my
You can feel your arteries. Yeah, but it's like, it's protein. It's a protein rich, it's a protein rich dinner.
My cholesterol levels are through the roof.
Yeah, it's not like we have it every week.
You're trying to get rid of me?
It's not like we have it every week,
We don't. No, we don't.
So there we go, that little bit of extra butter.
It feels like it.
It's melted down. So this is just, in Canada, they only have basically one type of flour. This is plain flour. They don't have self-raising flour, but plain flour is perfect for this. I'm going to start with like a heaped teaspoon.
Right.
And I'm going to like stir that in.
Stir it.
And you'll see it'll start to absorb the fat. And you really want to put enough butter in until it's absorbed the fat. So that's another one that needs to go in. And you just want to cook this flour down gently because you don't really want to taste the flour. The flour's there just to make the sauce thick. So because I was quite liberal with the butter, this is going to need another. So that's like 3. So I think 3 is probably 3 teaspoons, 3 heaped teaspoons of flour is probably going to do the trick.
I know when you've made this before, this sauce is so creamy. It's like...
I'm going to just put a little bit more in, but yeah.
It's wonderful. The sauce itself is good.
Yeah, the sauce...
Never mind the steak,
Yeah.
but the sauce is just wonderful.
So we've just, you can see there, I must have put more butter in than I normally do because I need a little bit more flour.
Okay.
But you can see there that that's just absorbed the fat, the butter. And we're just cooking that down gently. You've got to keep stirring it at this point because you don't want it to go lumpy.
Nothing worse than a lumpy sauce, is there?
So you really do need
Nothing
to
worse.
keep stirring it.
You don't want a lumpy sauce.
No. So
Amateur.
we're going to add some stock
Very
now.
rookie mistake is a lumpy sauce.
Shush. We're going to add some stock now. So this is just some stock that I had, and I've added to it some peppercorns, some lemongrass.
What's that twig?
That's lemongrass.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to sieve it as I pour it in because I don't want the peppercorns or the lemongrass or the other bits of herbs
You might break your teeth.
to go into it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sieve it in, and I'm going to sieve it in a little bit at a time. And then you're going to stir it, and you're going to see that it's going to start to thicken there already.
Look at that, that's
It's going to
magic.
start to go creamy and thick.
That's
Look at that.
magic.
It is, it's magic. It's probably chemistry, but hey.
Look at that, that's
So we're
magic.
going to add a
that
bit
is.
more of this stock.
So basically, you're adding fluid and it's getting thicker.
Yeah, because the fluid's hot.
Well,
So this stock is hot. So you don't want to add cold stock.
I'm amazed. I am.
Because cold stock will take longer for it to
listen.
thicken.
You've got special power. Is this your superpower, this?
No, my superpower is putting up with living with you.
Did you
So,
hear that?
I know.
Did you hear what she just said?
So a bit more stock.
I made her what she is.
Apologies, that's our dogs barking. There's probably a bear outside or something.
Oi.
So just gradually you're going to add about 200 millilitres of stock.
You see, this is live. You see,
Yeah.
we're doing this live. This is as it happens.
Yeah.
This is fly on the wall stuff. This is not a studio. This is our house.
Yeah.
Currently.
That's why the dogs are barking.
That's why the dogs are barking.
But you can also see, if we just look over to the steak now, you can see how the juices have started to ooze out of the steak.
Oozing.
Yeah, the oozing. Just going to put a little
Where
bit
we're
more
at.
stock.
So we're about 20 some minutes into this so far. So I mean, again, this is real time. There's no cut and paste here.
Okay, so you can see that's now gone really nice and rich and creamy. But to make it even more creamy,
What are you gonna do now?
I'm going to add cream.
Get away with you.
Yeah.
Yo, hey.
I'm going to add
Gets better.
I'm going to add some double cream. This is organic double
Oi.
cream. So I'm going to add.
Enough.
I don't measure this. I just by eye until I feel like the consistency of the sauce is where I want it to be. And you're just going to again stir that in, cook that down. Now the cream is cold, but because the stock was hot, the stock and the flour mixture have already thickened. So you don't have to worry. This will loosen it up a little bit, but you want it to be a little bit looser.
Is anybody's mouth watering? If your mouth isn't watering now watching this, I mean, I don't know what I can say. I don't know.
Okay.
Because my mouth's watering. My mouth is moist. I am moist with anticipation.
So we're just going to warm that through. Now I've put the
What kind of
cream
word
in.
is that? Moist.
I know. Will you stop saying that?
I use that so many times.
Yeah.
People don't like
And then
the
of
word
course,
moist. We don't like it.
Steve,
Sorry.
shush. You've got to taste this because we need to check.
Shall we get everybody round?
We need to. We know.
Come round. Come and
As
taste
you're cooking it, you need to taste it to make sure that the seasoning is correct.
Oh, right.
So I'm just going to let that.
We're not talking about our viewer.
No.
No, right, okay.
I mean, whoever's cooking it, you have to taste it.
You have to taste it.
You have to
It's
taste it
important.
because you need to make sure that you've got your seasoning correct.
Oh, it's important.
So now that cream has cooked through, I'm just going to taste it to see
Go
where
on.
we are in terms
Go
of
on,
seasoning.
do it. Oh, hey.
But I know what that needs. I'm going to give you a test.
How am I supposed to know?
I'm going to see what you think it needs more of.
You see that single spoon? Anytime
What does it need more of? What's your opinion? I know
Bit of
what
salt.
it needs.
a bit of salt.
It does.
Yeah.
It needs a bit of salt. It also needs more pepper.
Yes.
It needs a bit more mustard, and it needs a secret ingredient. So we're putting in there, I don't know, half a teaspoon of salt. We're going to put a good grind of black pepper in there because, after all, it's steak au poivre.
Oh, so
You need to be able to taste the pepper.
Mustard next.
A little,
And what is the secret ingredient?
a little bit of,
Do tell.
a little bit of Dijon mustard.
Is that the secret ingredient?
No.
Oh no, we haven't got there yet.
So a teaspoon.
Can we? If it's a secret, can we?
Well, we
announce
can.
it?
Otherwise, they're not going to be able to cook it to perfection, are they?
There is that.
Yeah. So we need to share what the secret ingredient is.
Oh, go on. I
So the
can't
secret
wait.
ingredient
What we
out of
doing?
my special drawer,
Tomato ketchup.
sugar.
Sugar.
Yeah.
Sugar.
Yeah. You just need a bit of sugar just to balance out the salt. Well, I do. To balance out the salt and the pepper and the mustard. So we're just going to put, I don't know, a teaspoon of sugar in there. Then we're going to stir all that through. And then we'll give it another taste and see if the seasoning and the flavour is right. And you can now see the consistency of that.
That looks
It's
delicious.
not too thick, it's not too runny.
No.
It's just kind of like
That looks delicious.
in the perfect spectrum.
Can you imagine that? I was just gonna
You're going to say what? Can you imagine that?
pour it across your spuds. What? Potatoes.
Okay, I'm going to let Steve taste this now.
Oh, I've got my own spoon.
See if he thinks.
That's perfect.
You see, personally, I think that
Oh.
needs a smidge more sugar.
Oh, hey, listen, check you out.
Just like a smidge.
Well,
Just a smidge more sugar.
smidge. How do you quantify smidge?
I don't know,
don't
quarter of
know.
a teaspoon.
Right.
And then we're just going to cook that down. And now we're just going to check our meat. And you can see here how beautifully those juices are coming out of that.
Look at the juices coming out of
Yeah.
that meat.
And if we touch it, we can feel that that's like I'm not going to cut in the middle of it because I know that's going to be perfect. That's going to be like medium rare. You can still see it's got this beautiful caramelized crust on it.
Yeah.
And what we're going to do, we're not going to put this in the sauce. We're not going to pour the sauce over it.
We're not.
We're going to serve the sauce separately, so then people can help themselves to how much sauce they'd like.
Go on, sorry.
I've also cooked some fondant potatoes with this.
Okay.
Which, if you want me to show you how to cook those, let me know, and I can
That'll
do.
be another video,
But it's fairly simple. And then I've just done some classic roast vegetables today.
But that's it.
That's it.
That's it. That in real time.
That's it. In real
what
time.
We're talking about 25 minutes.
It's steak au poivre.
Start to finish, steak au poivre.
À la Canadienne.
À la Canadienne, à la Mrs. M. Bring your glass over here, Mrs. M. I think you've earned a top up.
Top up to the wine.
You've earned a top up.
'Cause don't forget, I've got to have some red with the steak.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
So,
Finish that bottle.
So, ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah.
if you've enjoyed our soiree
Soiree and foray
into French cuisine.
Yes, well done. Hey,
Yeah.
like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Please comment,
Please comment
especially about the pronunciation.
the pronunciation.
Yeah, and let us know if there's anything else you'd like to see us cook.
And we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, I think that was good, wasn't it?